I'm very glad that you're able to join us today on the Word of Encouragement on this Thursday. And today we're looking at Acts chapter 23. Here we see the Apostle Paul, who is having to stand before the Sanhedrin. And he had been apprehended by the Roman authorities when the Jews had caused a riot and were accusing him of things that he did not do. And God was allowing all of this to happen. And so as he's speaking to them, he brings up the fact that he was a Pharisee and that he was one who believed in the resurrection. And when he said so, there was a real dissension. We read in verse 7, and when he had so said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. And it went on back and forth, and they were striving back and forth. Verse 10, and when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down and take him by force from among them and to bring him into the castle. Now, this is an interesting time. Obviously, he did this and caused this dissension by bringing up the resurrection, and yet it was a dangerous time. These were powerful men, and the captain of the Roman guard was extremely concerned even for his life at this time. And we find a little later there were a number of them that made a vow to kill him before they would eat again. That's how dangerous this was. And so as he went back to the fortress where he was kept in prison, we read in verse 11, and the night following the Lord stood by him and said, Be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome. I think this is very encouraging. In the moments in which it just seems overwhelming, and that was an overwhelming moment, in the times that we feel imprisoned by our circumstances, and here you have a literal imprisonment, that's when God, in a special way, if we're walking with him, will meet our need. Here the Lord stood by him. Now this is the Lord. I mean, we're speaking God made himself very real to Paul. He was on his side. He was right there in the prison with him in a special manifestation, and he told him to be of good cheer. And then gave him a little idea of what God was going to do in the days ahead. And for us, when we are walking with him, and then it seems like we're in the midst of a battle, it seems like we're going to be torn apart in some ways by all that's going on, the Lord will stand with us. He will comfort us. Let me just say, you don't have circumstances go just the way you want them, to have the comfort and joy of the Lord. You can have peace that passeth all understanding in some of the most difficult times. And one of the great just maturing perspectives of the Christian life is to come to a place where you truly trust him and keep that peace on a regular basis. The Lord has promised that the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall be kept in Christ Jesus. In other words, guarded by the Lord. And so this is, to me, such a blessing. And we may have some difficult days coming. I think we're all concerned about that. But they can be the days of greatest peace and joy we've ever had if we walk with him, if we're on mission for him, if we're really caring about what he cares about. So I encourage you to walk with him and believe that he will stand by you when the storm comes.